A long time ago, in a podcast not so far away, we finished the first part of our science fiction special. Welcome back for part 2. What science fiction RPGs have we played?
None. Recently.
Not Aaron, because Aaron isn't like the rest of us. He's new. Actually, you are very new, aren't you, clone boy?
Yes. And has a wife and commitment.
Does that still count?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
I mean, I was given this ring when I got out, so I presume so, and I've not said otherwise. Is that wrong?
That's a Haribo sweet, dude.
Yeah.
Num 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 num.
That's really metal. Now you've got no teeth.
Well, I think the most recent one we've played, or not including Clone Aaron, is the Star Wars RPG.
Oh.
Yeah, we played the starter box.
Yes.
Of the Star Wars RPG.
For the Rebels?
Yeah, there's different versions of the game that let you do slightly different things.
It was a red box.
It's a red box, yeah.
So you could be the Rebels. I take it you could be like the...
We were the Rebel Alliance.
I think you can also be... There's one for the bounty hunters and scoundrels of the universe, and then I think there's even the...
There must be the Imperial ones, yeah.
I think there is an Imperial one. I don't know what you do other than...
oppress people.
Well, I was thinking more shoot badly.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Massive minuses to all your dice rolls.
Wear a red shirt and get killed a lot.
I quite enjoyed it, actually. It was an odd system.
Yeah. It was...
I'm a bit slow on the up.
It wasn't bad, actually. Well, that was a good critique, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was alright. Yeah, it was alright. Cutting edge journalism here at Critical Twits.
Okay,
it was a red one and it was alright.
Okay. How was the character generation system? We'll go from the beginning.
We didn't have one.
No pre-generated.
It came with pre-generated
Absolutely
characters.
pathetic.
Yeah.
For only one reason. The characters were well-rounded. We had a nice little party.
A little bit of background and...
This is where it falls down completely flat and I laughed myself silly for about 20 minutes. The characters we were randomly given had their own little backstories. Yeah. Some of them were heartbreaking. There was one, his parents were killed by the Imperials and he joined up to fight the Wicked Empire.
Yeah.
My person was an art dealer, an art trader who had his artwork, whose museum was ransacked.
Star Wars has art?
Well, hollow art. And everything was stolen, and so he was fighting back to win the culture of his people.
The holoculture.
The holoculture. And then we had...
my character!
The woman.
Yes.
The only female character I'd like to point out.
So I immediately picked her, because that's what I did.
I think
I'm in a dress in the picture.
I think there were some character flaws. She was an Imperial pilot, or training to be an Imperial pilot.
Right.
Who was told she wasn't good enough yet to fly a TIE fighter or whatever they fly.
Yeah.
And so joined the
Rebel...
Rebel...
space sexism going on there. Yeah.
And so joined the Rebel Alliance because she wanted to fly a plane. Every other character had not exactly brilliant, but fairly legitimate reasons for joining. And then we just had this one rebel woman who went, "Well, I'm sulking because they wouldn't let me fly a plane."
No, so do you know what I decided? Because I had to. I read this and I went, "Oh my god!" And I had the exact same reaction you just had. So I decided that it was because it was she wanted to fly a TIE fighter. She wanted to fly fighter planes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I decided she was a psychopath and wanted to murder people. So unless I just played her as a stone cold blooded thrill junkie killer.
Yeah.
Who completely didn't fit with the rest of the party because it's a one-off thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I basically, whenever we encountered anyone, I gave them 10 seconds and I was like, I'll shoot him in the face. And that worked.
Much
all right.
to poor James's dismay when he was trying to talk to us.
because we're meant to be the good guys. Yeah, it had a really nice...
For reference, that Family Guy sketch where Han Solo makes the Imperial Stormtroopers dig their own graves, that's pretty much what we did. It got quite dark.
Yeah. It was it's quite funny. You are a psychopath with the Rebel Alliance. How do I actually know Star Wars things? Because I don't like Star Wars.
Family Guy.
you've got no choice. It's so embedded in popular culture. You have to know it to be including the geek.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it. I was going to.
Unless he's downloaded it from the internet because he's a robot.
Yeah.
Good point. Oh no, that
94% of the internet is cats. The other 6% is Star Wars.
Oh, that's a problem.
What happened to all the porn?
Star Wars cat porn. It's the future.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not.
I actually feel a bit ill. Sorry, internet.
No, you are not forgiven. Not for that.
But they've gone too far.
Who'd have thought the internet had a limit?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, it had a nice something or other you were about to tell me. This combat system? Was the combat system any good?
Yeah, I mean, there seemed to be...
It was quick.
It was quick.
Vicious.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, if you poked your head out round the corner and... It wasn't like D&D where you could take a bullet to the chest and keep going. It was put your head round the corner, you get shot, that's it.
Yeah, you had a sort of focus system where you could increase abilities and then you lose those
aim
things.
your shots.
And you had different dice, didn't you? So if you were really good at something, you might be rolling a certain colour of dice that had more successes on it. If you were bad at something, you'd roll a different colour dice.
Okay.
Which, if you rolled... They were symbols, but essentially if you rolled ones, doing something that you weren't quite good at, it was basically a critical failure, and it massively fucked something up.
Okay.
Yeah.
When there was a list of what could happen, it would be like, say, you were riding... I don't think this happened in the game, but imagine you were riding a jet fighter. Yeah. You're not very good at it. You rolled the rubbish dice. You rolled a load of ones. Oh yeah, you crash.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there was some things to the system without going into too much detail on it, because we only played it once, and that was quite a while ago. It was interesting. We never picked it up to play again, and I think that's because of the Star Wars setting. We're not big Star Wars fans.
No.
Some of us are.
I enjoy...
The chap who ran the game is a big Star Wars fan and got very, very annoyed when every single joke and reference I made for the entire game was a Star Trek reference. So I was going to do today, but I realised that the 8 people that listen to us would turn off.
Well, I've already done one.
You've already done it, I know. You stole my thunder, that's what you did.
But, yeah, that was the same thing. My problem with... And this might get geeks round to throw lightsabers through my windows.
It's alright, they're not real.
The Star Wars, it is a bit silly, and the Star Wars roleplay seemed a bit grittier for what the Star Wars universe is. And anything with the word midichlorians in doesn't really suit a game where I can take a headshot and blow a guy's brain out the back of the skull.
Yeah, to be fair, most of the kind of canon around Star Wars kind of ignores that as a premise.
And I think the other big glaring issue for me is we were the Rebel Alliance fighting the Empire.
Yeah.
Well, we know how it ends.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
If you haven't seen the movies, you know how it ends because it's popular culture. It doesn't.
It depends on when it was set. With the BioWare games of the Knights of the Old Republic, which was set like 1,000 years before Star Wars.
It was set after Episode 4. But before Episode 5.
Okay, so you knew you were obviously...
They've started winning stuff, but it's still a long battle to go, which I was just kind of going, I don't get a feel for the stakes.
No, so I mean...
Bring down the Empire. Oh, we could just watch the film.
The system was interesting, and the way that you sort of levelled up and the way you got different things. Like you levelled up in a school, you got an extra dice, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you were rolling more dice. Everyone loves to roll a nice handful of dice.
Yes.
Like Mutant, really. You put points in something.
And you get more dice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice, simple.
Which gave you more chances to succeed, but also gave you more chance to massively fuck up.
Yeah.
Which was nice, because it kept the game fresh. It wasn't, I am Space Warrior Gnarl who has a gun and I can kill everything from 1,000 metres away. It was, most of the time I'll be able to do that, and then one time my blaster's going to backfire and blow the back of my head out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The combat was quite interesting as well. I think it had a system where the players acted, then the enemies acted, then the players acted, then the enemies acted.
Yes, it was one.
And you decided
amongst yourselves
who was going to act.
Yeah.
So it gave you time. It could be a bit. I think we sped up eventually.
We were discussing,
but to begin with, we were going right. Well, if you run in, I'll throw a grenade here, and then I'll run in and do that. When it should be, I think if
hand, cover me. And
I think if we were to do it
character.
again, we'd go right. You got 6 seconds.
Yeah.
6 seconds. Choose what you're doing. Right, you go here. I do there. Done.
Yeah.
Which I have done in lots of games we've
RPGs.
played. Yeah. I was infamous for when we were playing D&D. Each round, each combat turn is 6 seconds. If a player was taking too long, I just start counting down from 6 on my hands.
Yeah.
It got to 0, and I say, "Oh, you're thinking too hard. You miss your go." Because otherwise,
you're unrealistically planning everything.
yeah. I mean, it's that thing about whether you're in the game and or whether you've got that. You're playing a war game kind of feel to it. And I mean, the starter box came with lots of lovely maps and little cardboard counters and things like that, which were nice, but they also encourage, the more of that sort of thing you have, the more you can see of the whole combat, the more it takes you out of your character, I feel, when you start doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
that's why I very rarely use maps and similar things now. And part of why we didn't really play D&D 4th edition is because you have to have a map. Everything is measured in squares. It's all done on the map. It assumes that you're going to use a map. And I was like, no, I only use a map for really big fights or really key things.
Boss fights and
then you guys go, oh, we get a map.
Yeah, which is because it's good to have a map every now and again. But when you've say jumped us with an ambush, there's nothing. We go, oh bloody hell! There's nothing that takes the edge off, like Brian pulling a map out, drawing some grids, getting the models, and going, well, this isn't much of an ambush because we've just spent the last 10 minutes watching what you're doing, and we've already made our plans and strategies.
Yeah, and it was nice. I mean, I do like that kind of thing every now and then, but but I think it encourages more of that role playing from your character's point of view. If you go, oh, how far away am I? And you go, you can count 7 squares, and you go, oh, I'm not close enough to charge. If I, as the DM, you go, how far away am I? And I go, why do you want to know that? And go, oh, well, I want to charge him. I might go, actually, it'd be quite cool if he charged him right now. Yeah, you're in range, why not? And you can be a little bit less rigid in what you're doing. Now, some people like it to be like a little miniature war game. Yeah, I prefer going with the flow of what seems cool at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer in combat situations or when you're about to do something. Say, for example, there was a D&D game where our orcish companion went, "Can I knock that door down?" And he rolled really badly. Now, from a metagaming point of view, we all went, "No, you just rolled like a 2."
Yeah.
What Brian said to the person was, "Yeah, of course you can." And he ran straight into the door, which was locked, barred, and made of metal, and I think pretty much broke his arm. But it was nice to get that flow. And if I turn to the DM and go, "Am I in range?" I'd like a little bit of, I've only just poked my head up round the corner for half a second. There's a bloke there. It's less of a counting the squares and more of a, I could get him.
Yeah, I mean, we've had things like in Mutant, we had a very big combat, mass combat that was happening, and the party got scattered by an explosion, and someone stood up and went, "Oh, well, I know that character's in trouble, I'm going to rush over and help them." And I was like, "No, roll me a perception check. No, there's too much smoke and blood and
your ears
debris,
are ringing,
your ears are ringing, your eyes are stinging, you don't know where they are. What do you do?" "Well, what can I see?" "Well, you can see this and this. This is what you can see."
Then I go over
okay, I'll do that. Whereas if you've got a map, it's almost then people are going, "Well, how far can I see? I want to draw a line and see which of this big map I can see."
Charts and diagrams.
Yes. So I mean, I personally prefer combat to be like that. I still enjoyed it. It was still good. I really liked. We stole a walker.
Yes,
at one point in this thing. Oh, a bit spoilery maybe for the starter thing, but
this does lead to a problem. As I remember, one of our biggest criticisms of it, there was a walker section. There was a number of vehicles you could take. We all piled into one walker because we could have jumped on the jet bike things, but two of us went, "Oh, we're crap at this and we'll die."
Yeah. So I was the pilot, so I was piloting the big thing. Yeah, the big thing. Yeah. I want that because it's big and it can kill stuff.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind,
because I was a psychopath.
This walker was written into the. It was on the map as a drawing. It had tokens for it. It was written into the campaign, or the mini campaign, the session. James could not find the rules for it anywhere. the rule book was one of the most badly laid out that I've ever seen. It was really horrendous. Once you found something, it was very, very simple. But I mean, he was looking in the combat sections, he was looking in the vehicle sections, he was looking in the starter rules. We could not find it anywhere. We couldn't find it in the index, the glossary, and it was just like, well, they've put this in, but
they've not explained it very well.
There doesn't seem to be any rules for it, so we made it up.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
But clear rules.
Especially for something that's a starter box, that could be being bought by people that have no idea.
Yeah, could be people who've never played roleplay before.
And it's actually one of the things that people struggle with in roleplay games, I think, especially when they're new, and especially when they're running new, is that most roleplays say this, but the rules actually don't matter. The rules are a way of mediating conflict, creating tension, but ultimately the DMs or the games master or the person running, storyteller, whatever you want to call them, the brand poobah of story, is in control.
Yeah.
And you have to have the confidence to go, can't find the rules, right, make it up. Make it fun.
Yeah.
And you need to have that principle in mind that this should be fun.
Yeah.
You also need to know that you're not fighting against the players as a DM. It's another rookie mistake.
Yes.
And as players, you need to know that the DM isn't someone that you're competing against and you're trying to destroy all their lovely things because then you win the game. You are playing characters and you are telling a story and you are having fun. And sometimes you need to trust that person.
Yeah.
Opposite you, which is difficult because obviously when you have a combat, they're your adversary, they're rolling dice for the other side, they're probably chuckling when they critical you and blow your character's arm off.
It's hilarious.
You can get a prosthetic in the future.
I skinned one once.
You skinned a player?
Skinned a player character.
Nice.
You were in that.
Was I?
That was the Legion
Oh
game we played.
I always win your games.
That's because you split half the party, and I went, well, I was expecting them all to go, punish, punish, punish. This will teach you.
Colin does grimdark fantasy games where everyone's at cross purposes, and I generally tend to screw everyone over in the last 10 minutes and emerge with my desired outcome and everyone else being miserable.
Yeah.
But everyone had fun, so
that's the point. I do smaller sessions so that everybody can screw one another over, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think after we played, and those who listened to our fantasy special, thank you. But those when we played the 1.5 year long campaign, if I'd have turned around at the end and murdered everyone and joined the bad guy, you probably would all have set me on fire.
Yeah, but then you've spent 1.5 years invested in a character when we've only made a character for 3 weeks, and I've told you it's only going to last 3 weeks. Yeah. You're a bit more liberal at what you play and go, oh well.
And I think those people hopefully out there that have heard us talking about the fun that we've had with role-playing games and fancy trying it, try to get someone to run the game for you who's played before if you can.
Yes.
Don't try. You can try and dive in, but you need to just bear those basic things in mind, that you're there to have fun. It's not a competition. You're telling a story that's interesting, that keeps people engaged. And sometimes you do have to sort of wing it, trust the DM, and the DM, you shouldn't be doing anything really horrible to the players unless it's seen to be fair, using the rules and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He walks in and rips your arm off. Why? I thought it would be interesting. Yeah. But is that fun for that player?
I don't want to name names or anything. I've played in games where we have been competing against the DM because the DM's got too attached to the NPCs and got drawn into his own little world, which is fine. It's nice to have a DM who's excited by his characters. If we decide to kill those characters because they're dicks, then
don't TPK the rest of the party because you're in a mood.
Yeah, I mean it's sometimes there are, and I've ran games like this for various groups, and I've gone, this guy is ridiculously hard, and I've got a little bit of a backstory how he's essentially a demigod, and the party have gone, well, he wouldn't put anything against us that we couldn't kill, let's hit it, and I've wiped half of them out.
Yeah.
I like to think there's a bit of common sense when I go, this thing's really scary and it's legendary and you should run away from it. I like to think that most of the groups would go, yeah, let's not take this on, but at the same time, when if that character's done something that really upsets the party, you're going to have to realise that they are going to hit it.
Yeah.
And if you've made it so it's going to kill them all, then
Scale back. Maybe.
Scale it back.
Well, I had a thing where we got into a fight in a role play game. Part of my character's backstory was he had a sword that someone attacked him, tried to mug him, and they had a scrap. The other guy ended up getting killed, and he had a shiny sword, so we kept it because he went, "I need a weapon. It's scary out there. People try to kill you."
This is why exactly I was referring.
Oh, excellent. Were you there?
No, it's the second one that person ran.
Right, same DM.
The same DM, same thing happened.
So this sword was actually quite important, and a group of people, I think it was a group of elves, it bore their clan symbol. Now, I was basically playing a simple village guy who didn't really know much about the world, so I didn't realise that it was, something that you shouldn't take.
Wasn't it something like a high elf? It was an ancient sword of one of the high elf clans.
It was
something bizarre like that.
Okay.
Eberron elves.
Yes, it was a very important sword.
Yeah, it was this normal person's not going to have any idea.
It wasn't a peasantry sword. It was.
So I walked into a pub. There were some of these people there, and they immediately went, "Where'd you get that sword?" And I was like, "I found it." Yeah, bluff the stupid ogre. It didn't work.
Mainly because he called him a stupid ogre.
And they decided that they were going to take the sword. Now my character was like, "No, it's mine." So kind of kicked off. We ended up having a fight. Now, these people were much harder than us.
Yeah.
And they immediately killed one of the party members. Stone Cold Dead killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, I think the DM realised that they'd made a bit of a boo-boo. And they knocked the rest of us out and took our stuff and left.
Yeah.
Now, for that player, the dead guy, was like, why didn't they just knock me out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or why didn't they just finish off the rest of the party?
It kind of lost its making sense there. Now, it's fine to put in something like that and they go, yeah, they knock you all out, they nick your stuff. Right, let's go get our stuff back. And that's an adventure, it's a quest, it's something to do.
Yeah.
And you hate those people. And you're like, let's get them. And it's having the recurring villain.
What I did when I skinned the party, I deliberately knocked them all out. They didn't realise they'd skinned them. They just turned up 2 days later when NPCs went and found them. And yeah, I hurt them quite badly, but I did it deliberately so that they hated the creature. But I made sure they were alive because I knew it would kill all three of them.
They're just running around with no skin.
Yes, as I recall, they came on a cart covered in blood. You went and they looked like they were holding a leather bag. And then when you got close, it was he'd skinned them, handed them their skin on. Yeah. It was
I forgot you did that.
Somebody reattached this dude.
You did that to one of the players. That was like the second scene of that particular game.
Yeah.
It was really, really early on. But it was in a setting where that could happen and someone could survive. And there was magical healing and things like that.
For in my defence, it was it was Aled who was playing, and he wanted a character who had stigmata, and he wanted fresh open wounds, like the Saviour.
Yeah.
And he wanted kind of a scalp. He wanted to be scalped, and that would cause some magical damage. And I went, okay, you're fine for now. Give me 10 minutes. It just so happened I went and did the rest of them as well.
And this is the other thing, is that listening to your players, discussing with your players, you don't have to give them the things they want, or you don't have to give them the things they want in the way that they expect it.
I mean, I gave
Be careful what you wish for.
I gave him the power he wanted.
Yeah.
But I made his character... I took permanent hit points off him because I went, you've got no skin and you're in a lot of pain.
You're more naked than naked.
But yeah, you have to be careful about what you throw at the party.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said about the demigod. I mean, you clearly make it sound like you'd emphasise to the players that isn't something they can fight.
Yeah.
So really, they should, as a player, you should go, okay, I'm not meant to be attacking this.
And it wasn't being
hostile
hostile at the time.
Yeah.
I've had one campaign where someone did that. They attacked... they decided they didn't like someone who was in charge of this village. They just ran at them and attacked them.
Yeah.
And the person just knocked them out and then got the local magistrate to lock them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely fair.
I mean, I had another game, so, it had its consequences, but I didn't kill the character for one silly mistake.
Yes.
I had another game where the characters went off on an epic quest and came back and someone had stolen the village they lived in. And there were all these guards about, and it's like, no, we've claimed your village for the next country over. We've got a deed of land. Actually, it belongs to our family. Tough. So one of the characters just started murdering guards. And, you know, they were at the point where they were quite powerful. So, yeah, they were just killing loads of people.
Yeah.
Until, you know, they were eventually sort of surrounded. And it was like, the rest of the party were like, what are you doing? It's like, well, these guys have invaded. And they're like, the guy, could we not just talk about this? And they ended up on trial.
Yeah.
And then you can do, obviously, if you're playing a fantasy game, you might have trial by combat. You could probably do that in a sci-fi game.
Yeah, definitely. Star Wars particularly to fit that quite.
Yeah, Dune.
Yes.
Again, is in there. I know there's not a Dune roleplay, but you could knock one up in
quite
10
easy.
minutes.
Yeah.
The combat would be a bit odd because it's not fast paced. Because you've got to be slow to get past the shielding with the knives, and they're placing it on Dune.
So skill based things. Yeah. So you make it a skill that you get better at. Yeah.
You could almost base off Star Wars for that.
Yeah.
Would work quite nicely.
So yeah, there's some roleplay tips for you for combats and similar.
Yeah.
Critical Twits top tips.
Yeah.
I would say, going back to Star Wars quickly, it's well worth trying. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you really like Star Wars, you will have a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're not a big fan of Star Wars, or you're just not invested in that kind of story, give it a go and just change the story. Just make your own sci-fi setting. You could use anything you like, and you could turn it into Star Trek. You could turn it into Mass Effect.
You couldn't turn it into Star Trek.
Yes, you could. You could turn it into any sci-fi setting you want, and it's a nice system to run it from.
Yeah. I mean, if you've not got a huge attachment to Star Wars, I mean, this is the other thing as well. You could make the game grittier. You could give it a different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Star Wars is... I don't really want to get into the fantasy versus sci-fi thing, but it feels like fantasy in space. Why has he got a laser sword? Because he does.
Yeah.
Why can he do mind tricks? Midichlorians.
Yeah.
It's essentially magic because there's no scientific basis in it, but it's got a completely different feel.
Yeah.
Then again, sword fighting in space.
Yeah, it's sort of fighting in space.
It's got a bit of a fantasy feel to it.
Yes, definitely. I mean, sword fighting can be done in a scientific manner. As I was going to say, we mentioned Dune is quite solidly scientific.
Yes,
with
but
the universal
feels,
field theorem, with the way their shielding works
that's
in that.
grittier and bloodier. And these Star Wars has the almost standard generic RPG fights, which last minutes, hours long, whereas Dune was a bit more the realistic.
Slash only once they could die.
Yeah, you're just going to run in and shiv the guy 17 times until he falls over, which is horrific, bloody, and doesn't make for entertaining fight scenes.
Yeah, so you could tailor it to your taste.
Yes.
If you don't like something, just take it out. It doesn't exist.
That's the joys of roleplay, because you tell that story.
Yeah, you just need to make sure everyone knows that those things that look like they've got vacuum pipes on their heads don't exist because they're silly.
Yeah.
There are no Jar Jar Binkses in this world.
Yeah. Or just change the look.
Gungans,
that's what they were called.
You said no, so like a Gungans. Sorry, that was terrible, wasn't it?
No, it was quite a good impression, actually.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It was actually scary.
Mr. Happy.
Oh, God.
There's such a temptation just to continue for the rest of the podcast in that style.
No.
Can we re-record everything where I'm a Gungan?
Yes.
Look forward to the fan mail. They're so popular. Colin, you could be a teddy bear. It's not a teddy bear, it's an Ewok. Yeah, so another...
You know they're called Klingons.
Another science fiction roleplay that we played with a completely different tone and feel is Paranoia.
It is a silly game.
It is a very silly game.
Yes.
Now, Paranoia's had multiple editions throughout the years. It goes all the way back to the 80s. I think it was a Games Workshop game.
I think it was originally, yeah.
And it consists of players living inside a sort of underground society run by a computer. The friend computer, the brave computer.
Which I'm sure you can already work out. It's going to turn out that it's not a friendly computer whatsoever.
Yes, the computer's absolutely mad, but it's a mad dictator. And I mean, one of the things that I really enjoy as a DM is being the computer when we play Paranoia.
Oh yeah.
Because you can just go wild. It's a comedy game. Each player has 6 clones, so Aaron, this might be of interest to you. And the game only ends for them when all their clones are gone.
Okay.
We're currently Paranoia XP came out round about the time of Windows XP, so about 10 years, 12 years ago, maybe a bit more. I think they're currently remaking it.
All right.
And they're reworking a new edition, as far as I'm aware. For Paul Dean of Shut Up. We're talking a lot about Shut Up and Sit Down, but we love them, even if they don't love us. This is what love is, yes. Has gone to Vancouver to work on that, as far as I can gather.
Okay, that could be cool.
If that's wrong, maybe do some research for me, Aaron. If it's wrong, just cut this bit out.
Okay.
I mean, but if it's not Paranoia was a fun game, then whatever they do to it now should be.
And I've played a couple games of it. I've run a couple games of it. It's not something that I play a campaign of. It does have a more serious mode that you could play a more serious campaign of, but actually for me it's very much a silly one-off game.
I've played it once as a silly one-off. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I still remember it very well, all the silly things that happened.
Years ago as well.
It was years ago, and I still remember it. But yes, you're right, it's not something you play as a campaign, because you're going to end up spending most of your time... Well, actually, no, you actually spend most of your time trying to kill everybody else's clones, because it is a silly game.
Well, it sounds a little bit like I have no mouth, but I'm a scream. I don't know if...
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, the computer that's got a selection of people.
Yeah. I mean,
in the story, that it's
nowhere near as
torturing
dark.
them. Yeah, but I mean, you
Think
find
System
it sort of
Shock
horrible
done
with it.
by Monty Python.
That's great. Yes,
And that's what you have. It's System Shock by Monty Python.
Yeah. So I mean, we started off. You start off as basic people who've been. You're the first clone of your 6. You've been promoted to become a troubleshooter for the computer. You get a better security clearance, and security clearance is everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the archetypical missions in Paranoia is you are red security clearance. Means you can go anywhere that's painted black, which is infrared, so black, and anything that's red. Anything that's orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet, or white, it's above your security clearance. You're not allowed to go there.
I'd like to point out you start with the red clearance.
Yes.
Just as a little bit of a reference there.
Yeah.
You're pitiful.
So and your red shirts, just like in Star Wars. Yeah. Wesley Crusher. No. So you start as red shirts, which I think is a nice little thing as well. Yeah. And your jumpsuit is red. And one of the archetypal missions is you need to go and paint that yellow corridor red. It's been changed.
Okay.
And you go along, you get your paint, you get your stuff, and you paint the corridor, and you get to the end of the corridor, and then you open the door, and it's still yellow. You run out of paint. You can't go back the way you are because there's a machine gun turret that comes out the thing and shoots you because you're in the wrong security clearance.
Yeah.
You lose a clone because you die.
Lose a clone. Yes.
You die almost instantly. There's no messing around. It is you get shot, you die.
Yeah. It's almost like cartoon kind of physics. So as DM, I could bring your clone in from a chute in the ceiling. That then deposits you exactly where you were, so you can't just all kill yourselves to get out of it.
Yeah.
For instance, we've done all sorts of very strange things in that game.
Bizarre things. I mean,
so it's a satire of sort of that kind of Cold War paranoia, that totalitarianism.
Yeah.
The XP one actually upgraded it to have more sort of capitalism and more modern references.
Yeah.
So slightly hit and miss. But you don't have to include them all.
No.
Every character, it's traitorous to be a mutant.
Okay.
Every character has a mutation, a bit like Mutant Zero. You can choose to declare it. You get a stripe across your jumpsuit, and everyone kind of treats you like you smell of eggs.
Yeah.
One of the mutations probably does make you smell of eggs. There are a couple mutations that you're not allowed.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you in the player's guide that you're not allowed them. But you go, do you want to declare your mutation? The character player goes, yes, I've got this mutation. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. And the DM's computer goes, excellent, report to the nearest termination centre. And then you have to draw a new mutation or roll up a new mutation for your next character. You can vary the clones slightly.
Yeah.
At your whim.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games where the players aren't allowed to know the rules. They're only allowed to know what's in the players section. It's very small.
Yeah.
And it deliberately, unlike most games where the rules are very open, if the players keep asking you the rules, then they are violating their security clearance and must be
terminated.
The actual rules of the game are the highest security clearance available.
Yeah.
So the players aren't allowed to know how the game actually works. I mean, you'll pick bits up and I'll tell you what to do, and you'll learn the basic sort of checks and things.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to know lots and lots of the information unless you've got to that security clearance, which is almost impossible.
I don't think we even got past red in the end.
I made one of you a higher security clearance.
Yes, I can't remember who it was.
I rolled a dice. And then I remember you arguing over, why has he got it? Well, he did this or he did that. You're trying to work out how to get promoted.
Paranoia.
It's also illegal to be in a secret society. Every character is part of a secret society. Depending on how slapstick you play it, you might having it revealed might be something that you blackmail people over. It might be something that gets them in trouble. It might be something that's worth saying, this person's a traitor, and you shoot them and hope that the computer rewards you.
Yeah.
And it encourages that backstabbing, that kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
It's really fun, actually. I'd fancy having a play.
Yeah, I really want.
One of the nice...
I need a new adventure because you played the one I've got.
I remember. I remember what happened, as in the slapstick moments. I don't remember what we were doing, why we were doing it, and how we were doing it. I just remember one of my favourite mechanics of it is almost like a fate system.
Yeah.
You have a certain amount of, if you like, fate points. You can spend them to boost your own abilities. Say you go, right, here's for example, I went to throw a grenade.
Yeah.
Grenade rolled at my feet, I threw a grenade. Put down a couple of points to make sure my grenade goes where it's supposed to. What you can also do with those points is screw other players over. AD immediately went, put down the points against me, so that my grenade went horribly, horribly wrong. Someone did it.
I'm just trying to remember if this is actually in the game or if it was something that I made up and added in. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Okay.
We're really terrible at research.
We are. I think it was a mechanic. I think we took it a bit too far.
Yeah.
But you could mess up the other player's score.
Yeah.
As I recall, I threw the grenade. It attracted the attention of a nearby robotic dog. He picked up the grenade and ran it back to me.
That's because at the very start of the thing, AD decided he wanted a robotic dog. I said to everyone, what is your dream in life? What is your goal?
Yeah.
And AD was to have a robotic dog. So I put in a robotic dog in the black market that you stumbled upon.
That was right. It was the black
but I
market.
made it more expensive than he could afford. So he then had to... He borrowed some money. He tricked some people. It made it into a role-play thing that wasn't in the adventure.
Yeah, it was just there.
But he got the robotic dog. And it was like, yeah. And then you threw a grenade and I was like... There's a dog there. So it ran off and picked it up, brought it back and killed everyone?
Me and... 80, I think,
yes.
Because he ran into went no, and just it detonated, killing all three of us.
There was you met a crazed guy who was suffering from some kind of post-traumatic stress thing, and you calmed him down, but he was very stupid. And one of you gave him a grenade and said, "Go and take it up to that guy over there," and blew them up with it as well.
Yeah. There was a moment one of us was trying to dodge traffic and fell into it, getting cut in half.
Yeah.
There was a really bizarre moment between.
This was brilliant. Can I pick this up slightly?
You can, yes.
Yeah. So the way that names work in it, that's where you were going, isn't it? Yeah. The way that names work is that you have a name, your security clearance, which is a letter, so in this case R, because you're red security clearance, and then a three-letter area code, almost like a postcode, which says which area you're from. So you might be Jeff R. Leg, for instance, and quite a lot of the names are silly puns and silly jokes and things like that.
Yeah.
So I got everyone to name their characters, but I didn't even look at them. I didn't care. We were just playing a game.
Yeah.
one of the players got killed, and I grabbed their sheet, had a look, and then went da-da-da-da, and then I announced as the computer that a clone of Who Are You? So they'd come up with their own silly jokes. The players had got it immediately. It was great. Yeah. The clone of Who Are You will be arriving in 2 minutes. At which point, another player went, "What? I'm not dead." And they picked the same silly name.
Yeah, they both, without realising, because we hadn't learned one another's names.
Yeah. No.
Both of them had picked Who Are You?
Yeah. So I was like, wow. And the other player who kept a straight face was just like, so I had the player who wasn't dead. I had one of his clones activated accidentally, so he had 2 of himself. So he stood there, and this other version of him just walks in. And is like, what? And your clones, your name is, you start off as Who Are You 1. This was Who Are You 2?
Who Are You and Who Are You 2?
Which I thought, again, that was really, really silly. So you could get a feel of the tone from that kind of thing. At which point, Who Are You 1 just flipped out, shot him in the face, and put him in a bin and went, that never happened.
Killing one of his own clones.
Yeah, so, and then the error was sorted, because I didn't want the other player to sit out for too long. But after we'd finished rolling around on the floor laughing, I've never laughed so much playing a role-play game. Genuinely. My sides were literally hurting from the laughter, the silliness.
It was my first time of dying by cocktail sticks.
Yeah, they had anti-gravity cocktail sticks. So you picked it up.
Pick your own teeth.
You pick it up, you shake it, and then it flies into your mouth. You don't need to do it, and it picks your teeth for you. But there was a box of 100 of them. A fight kicked off in the R&D lab, so you kicked the table over. At which point, 100 cocktail sticks and flew into your face,
killing me instantly.
Yeah, I mean that was it built into that particular adventure.
Yeah.
That wasn't my thing. A lot of the silly things that happened were mine, but some of them, a lot of them were also in the
every death
the game
was silly. If it wasn't us getting ourselves killed, it was us getting other people killed by doing silly things. By going, well, just run at the turret, it'll be fine. I know it's not activated. I didn't deactivate it. Oh, he's dead.
The other thing was, you roll up your stats completely randomly, and you rolled. Was it you that rolled someone that couldn't do anything?
Oh. I can't remember what name I chose. It wasn't as funny as Who Are You and Who Are You 2. But it was something along that showed that I couldn't do anything. I think I had the lowest stats in the entire game. There was nothing I could do, and I chose
Wasn't it like I am like Ian R. Poo or something like that? It was something very silly.
Something very silly that and I couldn't literally do anything.
Yeah, the other thing I did like is that you have basically 3 sets of skills. You've got you've got physical skills,
can do that.
Mental skills,
can do that.
and charisma skills like ass kissing and boot licking. Boot licking is a skill.
Yes.
Because if you can boot lick your superiors enough, they like you and they give you stuff. And if you fail it, then they hate you and they will make your life miserable and they'll abuse their power over you. All lovely. Yeah, it's all sources of good fun. Where did I start?
The 3 skills.
Oh yes, so each of those 3 areas, you can have one thing that you're really good at. You can pick it on the fly, but it has to be really, really specific. And once you've chosen it, that's it forever. But you get like a plus 20 bonus to do it, which is massive.
I've just remembered what mine was.
Go on then, Colin.
I think. Do you remember what it was?
No idea.
No. As I recall, it was something along the lines of cooking with a frying pan.
Right.
Or something really bizarre that made no sense whatsoever.
You were an amazing fry cook.
And I think I got the opportunity to... I think we went into a restaurant or something like that, and I managed to disguise myself as a fry cook chef.
Wasn't it to pretend to be a chef while wielding a frying pan or something like that?
It was something really...
You wanted to pretend, and you were like... And I was like, if you get caught, you're going to die. So you were like, I will make this my charisma-based skill forever, because it would run off you.
Yeah, and that was my one thing. I could disguise myself as a perfect
the chances
chef.
of that ever coming up again are minute. But if it did... you'd have been sorted. So you go to get this one-off, almost like a free pass skill.
Yeah.
So like some of them you could be like getting an extra 10 credits out the cash machine. Buy my habitation block when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Or it could be convincing this particular character not to kill me yet.
Yeah.
And that one particular person, you can always sort of stave off them killing you. But yeah, once it's done, it's done. And once you've used all three, they're set in stone forever, and it has to be really specific. But it gives the players like a little bit of control over things that are going on as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the new version coming out. I think I'll wait to play it till the new one comes out because it would have updated a lot of the references.
Yeah. A lot of the references were dated even 8-9 years ago.
Yeah. But I suppose if you've got a good DM, you know,
I'd very much like to play it again. If they weren't going to update it, I'd want to play it again.
Yes.
We don't. It's not something you play very often. You have to be in a bit of a silly mood for it.
Yeah.
But actually, I mean, we found because of real life intruding that long-running role-play campaigns are becoming really hard to do.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in looking now at things that we can pull out and go, we're doing this because Jeff's not here.
Yeah.
Poor Jeff can never make it.
Yeah, one session or 2 or 3 session games or something.
We'll
new
start
that
doing
we
this.
did.
We'll bang this down.
I'd quite happily go because you can knock a paranoia character out in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If that.
Less than that once you know what you're doing because it's been deliberately built. If you lose all 6 of your clones, you make a new character. When you've made a new character, the DM checks it and then brings you back into the game.
Yeah.
So it's very
fun.
quick. It's such a fun thing to play for a set. I've never laughed so hard in a roleplay game before.
Yeah. So yeah, very much looking forward to having a go that again.
Awesome.
Excellent. So that's some science fiction role-playing games. Just a sort of semi-random selection of the ones that we've played. We have played some others, but let's move on to video games.
Video games.
Right.
Video games.
It's where we have to try and think of video games as science fiction that we've played recently.
I haven't played a lot of science fiction recently.
No, there used to be tons of it.
Have there been many science fiction games recently?
There's been a few, but not a lot. Most of the ones are coming out.
I noticed for a while there was a lot of science fiction games around the Dead Space era, the first one that came out.
Yeah, loads.
But I think the rise of Game of Thrones has led to a lot more fantasy games, which I'm not complaining about. We all love a good fantasy adventure where we get to kill an orc.
All of us who are normal.
Or as a normal.
Oh, this clone's broken too. Send him back to the jar.
But there isn't as many sci-fi games coming out, or not at present.
No. I disagree. Halo 5 has just come out, which none of us have played. So it's not really something we can discuss.
But I've played 4, I played 3, played 2, I played 1. They get better.
No, they don't.
No.
Same.
Some games...
No, they don't. They get worse, in my opinion. Let's discuss this for a bit.
Okay.
Right.
4.
Because we've got this
Fall
agreement.
of Halo.
Conflict, the driver of all stories.
I'm gonna sit over here with Aaron because I think he's on my side for some of this.
Yeah.
Team up on Aaron's side here because I think me and Aaron have very similar opinions. And Brian, you can sit in that tiny corner of the space station by yourself.
Yep.
In what I like to refer to as the winner's circle.
No, that's just where
The zone of truth.
The zone of truth. Okay, why don't you like... Why the Halo games got worse?
I really enjoyed the first Halo game.
As did most people.
Yep.
It had a really, really good single-player campaign.
Yeah.
A few twists and
Marvellous.
turns. It was quite a decent length. The combat was pioneering for its time.
Yes,
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
In retrospect, but definitely pioneering.
Yeah. I mean, it brought in the regenerating health and such like. But
No, it didn't.
Did it not?
No, number 1 had a health bar system. You had
Yeah, but it had a regenerating shield.
You had regenerating shield and 2 weapon slots,
2 weapons.
which were
That's it. Yeah.
completely unheard of at the time.
Yeah, you should just carry around an entire arsenal in your magic backpack.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In your space backpack. Your hollow pack. If you want to make it spacey, make it a hollow thing.
Yes.
You have a wormhole in your butt crack.
Basically,
you kind of
yes.
stick things in, it seemed. You just sort of stuck things behind you and they disappeared.
And a fan fiction goes mental.
Anyway, it's slightly queasy.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. I loved Halo 1.
Yep.
Completed it on the old Xbox.
Yeah.
Halo 2, rushed out, bought it at midnight, completed it by 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Was a big pile of rubbish. Didn't like it at all.
I will completely agree.
Yeah.
Kind of spoilt me on Halo. Never really got into Halo 3. Never really picked me back up to the feeling of joy and satisfaction of playing it. And then I've not really bothered since. So for me, it just
okay.
It peaked very early.
I agree with you on Halo 2.
Yeah.
It promised a lot and didn't deliver anywhere as near. For starters, the removal of the health bar system, and if you're listening, game developers, bring back health bars.
This works for multiplayer brilliantly because it makes multiplayer fast-paced and vested with the adrenaline rush of things. For a single-player campaign, it slows everything down.
And you just hide behind some boxes till you regenerate.
And on top of that, there's nothing more exciting in a shooter game when you're on that last scrap of health. You're running through hordes of enemies, you're chucking grenades behind you as you go, trying to desperately dive behind cover, looking for a health box. That's brilliant. Fast-paced shooter action. Removing of the health bar, it just makes you hide behind a corner.
But did you ever play America's Armies?
No.
Which is a bit of a propaganda thing for the American Army.
Yeah.
But they used to give it away for free.
Yeah, I think they still do.
I haven't played it 10, 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
But that had very, very realistic bullets. So if you got shot in the arm, you couldn't use that arm anymore.
Yeah.
Got shot in the leg, you started to crawl around. Got shot in the trunk, would start to bleed out. Shoot someone in the head with a bullet, they died.
Yeah.
And that was tense from the get-go.
Yeah.
That was immediately incredibly tense. And I quite like that. Yeah, I think there's a definite tension. I think we talked a little bit about games being power fantasies.
Yeah. I mean,
a regenerating health system makes you an unstoppable power fantasy. You are a colossal erection striding around, destroying everything in your path.
Which is fun to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, when you jumped into a vehicle in Halo, which the first ones, the marine vehicles, were indestructible.
Oh, yes.
You could still be killed, but the vehicles were indestructible. That was a very good power moment. But it made it more powerful because you could be killed in the first game. You had a health bar, so having only 2 bars of health left, jumping into a tank and then absolutely obliterating everything was an amazing feeling compared to later on installations which didn't have that. Number 3 for me picked up a bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as number 1.
No.
It was better than 2.
Yes, definitely.
The way I judge shooter games like that, if I replay the game, it's good. Yeah. I have replayed Halo 1 multiple times, not recently, but I did replay it multiple times.
Yeah.
Halo 2 I played once, never played it again. Halo 3 I have played levels again. I haven't played the whole campaign again, but I have picked out certain levels and gone, this is a fun level. I will play this level and then I will skip to the next level. So it has boring levels, but it did go back to more of the fun of the first Halo game. Halo 4, I have replayed that campaign about 5 times. And I would put it on par with the first Halo game.
See, I was just bored of Halo by then. I felt that they were just living off the name and the success of the first one for a long time. And the plot disappeared up its own rectum round about 10 minutes into the second one.
Halo
really had it in the first place, to be fair.
It tried to, but it's hard to have a plot when you're just running around murdering stuff.
Yeah.
I found myself quite engaged. I cared about getting through and surviving in the first one. And
true.
The
plot for 4 is...
And it's a fantasy game in space. You've got the Chosen One. And is it the... whatever it is, the
Arbiter and the
Arbiter and all this sort of thing.
Playing him in the second game, what the hell were they thinking?
I didn't mind that so much.
They did a Raiden on us.
Yeah.
It added more to the story and brought in the introduction that there was a civil war going on between the Covenant.
Yeah, I mean that's what brought what little investment I had in Halo 2 into it.
Yeah,
was hearing kind of his side of things, but it
was a bit weird.
It had fallen up its own arse, as Brian said, by that point.
Don't get me wrong, Halo 4...
I didn't say arse, I never swear.
Halo 4, the plot made absolutely no buggering sense.
No.
It took... the trilogy, for whatever people think of the stories, it ended the story. The war ended, the Covenant leaders all died, the Arbiter took over, there was peace between humanity.
Yep.
We can all carry on cheery, and then 4 just kind of threw it all up in the air, came up with an entirely new enemy and new reasons why we were fighting, and I didn't understand half the plot that was going on. But just for the gameplay, I enjoyed it.
Was Halo 4 the one that was the first one out by a different studio?
Yes, by 343.
Because I know Bungie went off and did Destiny.
Yes.
Which you've played.
Which is
which I have had absolutely no interest in playing because of the colossal mess up that was Halo after the first one for me.
Yeah.
And also... It's an MMO, and they involve lots and lots of tedious grinding, which I hate because I'm here to have fun. I'm not here to repeat menial tasks.
And B, it's a power fantasy because it's Halo in a different skin. And you can't have a power fantasy in an MMO because you log in and there's someone 20 levels higher than you, and there will always be someone a million levels higher than you.
I will say, combat-wise, is fun.
Yeah,
I've certainly picked it up on several occasions. I'll have a muck about and play on this kind of thing, but I haven't got to the end and completed it, so I'm doing new things all the time.
Yeah.
And even now I'm seeing the beginnings of the grind appearing and going,
I don't want grind. Grinding is boring. I want to shoot everything on this level, and then I want to go to the next level and...
do something new and see something new.
There's this weird thing in gaming where people that consider themselves to be hardcore gamers actually often only buy 3 or 4 of the AAA titles and just play them all for 1,000 hours each. So they're always playing games, and they play games all the time, and they're really into those particular games. But actually, they just do the same things over and over again. They're playing the same games. They play FIFA, Call of Duty, Halo over and over and over again. Now, if you're really into your multiplayer, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, if you enjoy yourself.
You're not really a connoisseur of the art form. Well, that sounds so pretentious, doesn't it?
No, but it makes... I know...
But you to me, gaming is, I like a game of FIFA. I know you guys don't, but I like a game of FIFA.
I like FIFA.
I'll play a bit of an online shooter game every now and then. I'll give them a go. But I also like... an adventure game. I like a puzzle game. I like a game without the plot that's just a game, something that's an abstract game like Bejeweled or something like that. Where what's the plot in that? You like in Jaws? I don't know. No one knows. But it's a game. They all tick different spots, and gaming is such a wide thing.
Yeah,
and I really like the Inkle games. Sorcery and things like that, the old fighting fantasy games that they've brought back as interactive apps, because they give me that nostalgic rush of childhood joy. Plus, it's reading.
I've still got Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox. Which I downloaded because it's such a great game.
And I just find that going online and playing those games, I felt that Halo 3 had a massive shift towards it being more about the multiplayer.
Definitely, and the multiplayer was fun.
I mean,
there's nothing wrong with that. But I do not go online to play a game to be called a noob and a fag by a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, no.
I also...
It's no fun.
It
puts me off.
Yeah, I mean, I like power fantasy. I am shit in real life. I'm 5'7". I have the muscle structure and elastic band. Those dead civilians that you see in every game ever, I'm one of them. I haven't died in it. I'm not the hero. So when I play a game, it is to murder everything and be the hero. And I don't like going onto a multiplayer game and going, haha, I've died. Aha, I've died. Or if I wanted to do this, I'd go and start a fight with a gang, because it's exactly what's...
Why don't you just get good, Colin?
That, and especially MMOs.
Because I've got a job and a life and I'm an adult.
Well, that's the thing.
That's why I don't get good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with MMOs. I mean, people have said to me, you'd enjoy World of Warcraft, you'd enjoy Destiny, you'd enjoy this, you'd enjoy that. And I've played some of them and gone, it's not bad. I don't play computer games all the time. If I do, it's only for an hour or two, unless I've got some free time and I'm invested in. It tends to be more the story games I tend to play for large quantities of time. I might go a couple of months without playing a game easily. I played a lot of GTA 5 recently for a good 5 or 6 days every day. I haven't touched it in a week and a half.
Yeah,
I'm probably not going to touch it now for a good 3 weeks, but I will pick it back up. With an MMO, by that time people have leveled up 100 levels.
Yeah,
and I'm still sitting there going, what am I supposed to do?
I've had friends that have got into MMOs because their friends are playing it, and then
their friends
out-level them.
Yeah.
And then they can't play with their friends anymore because it just doesn't work that way. And then, you've then paid quite a lot of them as subscription models. You pay 15 quid a month and you've got no one to play with. Yeah. You can go and make other friends. I'm very wary of making friends on the internet, but people do it all the time. Yeah. Be safe, people. Be safe.
Yeah, I mean,
use your common sense.
That's something else. I don't know whether it's just because I am a complete narcissist, but thinking about World of Warcraft, there's lots of dungeons and levels that are meant for multiplayers. I just want to go in and do it myself. Yeah, but the game's not designed around that, and I don't want to join a guild, and I don't want to talk to 12-year-olds who are going to swear at me because I don't know what I'm doing.
I love the idea of those big dungeons, of having 40 people who are working together to achieve
if something. If you could get 40 friends, absolutely yes, I'd be in a heartbeat.
And a lot of people do with those guilds, but like you said, there are so many.
For the UN actually with their organisational skills.
But there is friends.
Yes, yeah.
There's a TV show in the 90s. You can probably download it off the internet when we get back into orbit properly.
I mean, hey, going back
I never knew that life would ever be this way.
I mean, going back to Halo, we played a lot of Halo.
That was awful.
Halo 3. When many years ago now, it seems.
Yes.
Between the four of us, we all go round. We got some pizzas.
We played split screen.
For hours.
Split screen Halo with us online, so with other people as well.
Yeah.
Can't do that in Halo 5, no split screen.
No, that annoys the life out of me.
But it was amazingly fun, and I have lots of fond memories and lots of silly stories. And but the moment we all started getting jobs, other commitments came forward. I had to work more. He had to work more. You had to work more. I haven't played it online since. I don't want to play it online since because I can't play with my friends and I can't have a laugh. I'm going to play with someone who can immediately headshot me.
Yeah, and then insult you for
getting headshot. It's like, well...
Yeah, I've been massively put off Rocket League recently because it seems to have caught on and become a big thing, and now it's infested with idiots.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
And I love Rocket League. I love the gameplay. I love the silliness and the randomness of it, but people that are being abusive to you online over... A silly little game. It's a game.
I mean,
none of your self-esteem should be invested in a game.
No. It doesn't mean anything.
No.
And one day, no one's going to play the game.
Yeah.
Because the servers are going to shut down and it won't happen anyway.
Yeah, so you've got really good at something that is no longer useful.
I mean, the last time...
I'm going to be the greatest candle maker in all the land. We've got electric lights now, go home.
Yeah. And the last multiplayer
I know people
game...
still buy candles, it's not the best analogy.
But the last multiplayer game I tried was Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because we used to play that a little bit. I wasn't...
Is this World at War? Or Modern Warfare
I think it was Modern Warfare. We played online a bit. I was never any good.
I remember playing with you, Colin.
Yeah. I'm shit at Call of Duty. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I can't read the mini-map very well. I can't tell what level they're on. But it was quite fun to play with friends. And then one day I was at home and I was bored and I put it on. I spawned, I died.
Yep.
I spawned, I died. Found a vantage point. I went, ooh, I died. Looked at the kill cam, couldn't even tell where that shot came from. It was like a magic bullet. And then I was being abused by my team for having, 9 deaths and no kills. And it was like this.
Well, I'm new. You were new once. Everyone was new once.
Yeah, and that's not fun.
And this is the thing, though, that, I mean, Call of Duty doesn't change that much.
No.
Therefore, there are people now out there that have been playing it online solidly for 10 years and are amazing at it. And well done, but don't be a dick about it.
No.
Yeah.
And the rest of us are just
trying to enjoy it.
I don't like a lot of the ranking systems in games as well, where, yes, they can try, they do say they try and put you with people matched up to you, but what you get is people who are really high level creating new accounts so that they can start again, so you end up with amazing players who are level 1.
I had this in Dark Souls. Did I talk about this before last time?
Yeah, that someone had done the glitch where you could transfer all your items over to a new character.
Or someone had just levelled up a little bit but had completed the game, really good at it, and but had really, really high level equipment on a very low level character. Which is fine if you're good enough to do that, but then when you invade someone,
you're going to slaughter them.
It's not actually a fair fight.
No.
Where's the fun?
You're a bully.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember a Halo game where...
If you want to be a bully, I suppose it's in the game, that's fine. Whoopie-doo for you.
Yeah, it's not fun for the rest of us. And then there's times when the game either buggers up or it's taken a personal vendetta against you, where you end up put against high-level characters and you're just going... there's me, Tom, and that civilian there who's never held a gun before. Oh,
the SAS have arrived. What do we do?
I mean, I remember a Halo game, which actually turned out to be a lot of fun because we gave up and started making our own mini games where we were up against 5 of the Brigadiers, and most of us were unranked, and we ended up on a beach. And we kept spawning on the beach because there was literally no other place on the map to spawn. We were spawning immediately, dropping dead. I mean, they were slaughtering us. But it was fun because we were just going, oh, this is pointless. We tried to play a game where we got off the beach. First person to get off the beach wins out of our team, as far as we were concerned.
Yeah.
But again, so that was fun because I was with friends and we'd had a few drinks, but that happens more and more as the games get older. You just end up put against players who
you get put against the wall.
Put it.
And this is just fascinating analysis of science fiction in games.
Well, we're stuck to the shooting. There you go.
Yes, bullets are
with
science.
Lasers.
Yes.
Yes.
Laser bullets.
I just thought I'd move us on because we just sound like a bunch of grumpy old people complaining about the onions.
This is why we're in space.
I think the point is make your single player campaign as important, if not more important, than the multiplayer.
Yeah.
The multiplayer will continue. If it's a good game, the multiplayer will prop itself up. Don't put more investment into a multiplayer game than a...
You'll sell more copies.
Or just make it... I mean, fair props to Destiny. It hasn't really got a single-player mode.
No.
That's fine. Good for it. At least I knew I didn't want to buy it.
Yeah.
Whereas if it had dangled a 6-10 hour really good campaign in front of me, I might have bought it, and then they'd have got my money, but I'd been really resentful and...
Yeah. But at the
would have
same
whinged
time,
a lot more than I already
had.
have.
If it had a 6 to 10 hour campaign that you'd really enjoyed...
Oh, if it was really, really good, then
you might have been fine.
I wanted to play Titanfall. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a sci-fi game. It's multiplayer only.
Yeah.
I haven't bought it, don't want to play it, because there's no way I'd get good enough to...
Oh, especially now, because it's been out for a while.
Especially now. And I was disappointed, because I was going, well, A, you're charging full price for a multiplayer only, which is going to be dead in a few years.
Yeah.
Because everyone will stop playing it, because they'll move on to Kermit the Frog's Adventure 4.
Which has happened with it.
Which has pretty much happened with it. Half the
Not
servers are...
for Kermit's Adventure for all,
No, but half the servers are now gone.
Do you remember when they changed everything in Kermit's Adventure 3? And they went for that top-down, deep immersion role play. That was very
It's when
weird,
they took away the eating the flies for regenerating your health and went to some weird regenerate your fluff bar.
Yeah, that made no sense. I don't know why they killed Miss Piggy off. It was.
Well, she was giving him cancer, wasn't she? Because she's a smoked meat.
Totally inconsistent.
So, any other games that we A, want to talk about, B, have time for?
I suppose we could touch on Metal Gear Solid 5.
Too.
Because I've played a little bit of it now.
You've seen a little bit, and I have played 15 hours and have completed 5% of the game because I'm really bad at it. It takes me an hour and a half to do each mission.
See, this is good. I'm already invested because that's 15 hours of gameplay. That's only 5%. I like that.
Aaron was there when I was shouting at him through the controller across the room. I had a cold. I was feeling a bit grumpy.
The controls are poo. Yeah.
Oh, they're contextual, which means that if you're standing in slightly the wrong position and the little prompt hasn't flashed up, instead of picking the guy up, you end up getting your buttocks out. You do something really strange. You're like, that's not what I meant to do.
Yeah.
Now,
because it's very complex. But yeah, it is. To me, it's a science fiction game. First of all,
Yes,
to
definitely.
categorise it.
I haven't played any of them. It looks like a science fiction game. He has a robotic arm in the 80s.
Yeah, he has a robotic arm in the 80s. You go around collecting cassette tapes, and one of the recent cassette tapes I collected, you were there, weren't you? Yeah. Was the 1999 remaster of David Bowie's Man Who Sold the World. Yeah. And I was like, kind of breaking my immersion here slightly. But you start off in a hospital. I'm not going to spoil the game for anyone because
that's the first thing you do.
Yeah,
before you even get to the title screen.
There's a man on fire.
Of course there is.
And there's a teleporting ghost guy.
Yeah.
It has all sorts of science fiction-y CIA mind control.
Because it's written by a lunatic.
It is also absolute bobbins. The story makes no sense whatsoever. It is completely unself-aware and cringingly awful in things like the way that they treat the female characters.
Yeah,
I know he
really,
keeps
really
winning
naked.
awards, and he's recently won a Lifetime Achievement Award for video games, but he can't write.
No.
Please stop him.
Yeah,
He makes good games, but stop him writing, or at least hire him an
At
editor.
times, I mean, you guys haven't played Metal Gear Solid 3. The writing in
Because
that
I don't have enough lives. There's not enough time in the day.
The writing in that is very, very good. You know, the end of that is genuinely quite heartbreaking, and
I
it
know
does
what
get a
happens
bit
at the
weird
end of
and
that.
odd in places. But again, it's quite self-aware that it's being a bit of a strange, bizarre kind of James Bondy thing, and takes the mick out of itself. That one was very self-aware. I mean, I have seen it. 4 wasn't at
Metal
all.
Gear
in the
Solid
slightest.
5. It appears to be. There's a lot less story. I've not had a lot of story in it so far, but I mean, there's some really cringeworthy dialogue in there. Again, not a spoiler. It's just a little moment. There's a bit where Revolver Ocelot is talking to the new recruits.
Yeah,
and he's
Revolver Ocelot.
yes, yeah.
Okay, carry on.
No, his name is, and I kid you not, his name is Revolver Shalashaska Ocelot.
Of course.
And one of the cassette tapes you can listen to is Big Boss asking him, why are they calling you Shalashaska now? As if this is something that we'd want to know. Don't care. It's mad. It's silly.
That's why it's on a tape, so you don't have to listen to that.
Yeah, I've got 35 tapes that I haven't listened to.
I will listen to every single one of them because I get quite involved in the lore with this.
How?
Get life.
Because it's weird. Because it's slightly odd.
Have you undergone lobotomy in order to understand? Does
I
your
don't know
wife
what
hit you
happened
with
to me
a
in the
brick?
clone tank. I mean,
Well,
quite
that's true.
possibly.
You're more
You did
immersed in
suspend
it.
me in actual jelly rather than something useful.
There's
I'm enjoying the
immersion,
fact-
and then there's being beaten by a brick until stuff seems to make sense.
But there's a bit where he turns around to these recruits and he's like, we're no longer dogs on our stomachs. We're going to fight back. We're professionals. Act like professionals. We're diamond dogs. And it's meant to be. It's obviously being played as like this moment that's like, yeah, we're all really heroic.
Is that the
But
inspiration?
we're diamond dogs. Oh my
No.
god, they're so stupid!
No.
Are you kidding? Do you actually genuinely think that's cool?
No,
Diamond
that's the
dogs.
thing. Metal Gear Solid 3 did this, 2 did it, and 1 did it as well a little bit. But 3 did it particularly where
on
they'd
your
have
side
these
now, by the way.
announcements of these silly names. And it was clearly like,
No, I don't-
find this a little bit. I think this is cool, but I know how stupid, silly, and geeky this
No,
is.
I don't
and
think
made a
you
reference
realise.
to how stupid that is because the characters.
No, but there's no reference to anything.
No,
it's
and I
really,
worry
it's
that
played
that's-
really straight.
And
Yeah,
I
I
don't
worry-
think he has any idea that we're all laughing at him. I think because he keeps making all the money, Konami, until at least recently, just covered his ears and went, shh.
Yeah. But what's really great about it is I can skip all of that. I don't have to pay attention to that. I'm actually really invested in one of the characters, and again, it's not going to spoil anything. I found a puppy.
Yeah.
And I tied my puppy to a balloon, and now it lives on my oil rig.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is insane.
I have to apologise to one of my uni friends who will not be named, whose game I've messed up slightly because of that.
You made him shoot the puppy.
I made him kick the puppy off the oil rig.
What? Did it die forever?
I don't know. I kind of put it down and went, well,
I did jump off the oil rig the other day, and you do die if you fall off the oil rig. You can't swim.
okay, this might
And
seem
there is no
completely...
swimming. You see these amazing rivers in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and then they're all ankle deep.
Does anybody remember? This is completely. It's not off. This is why I did it. But does anybody remember Super Mario 64?
Yeah, of course.
When you rescued the baby penguin.
Oh yeah.
And you gave it back to the mother.
Yeah.
And it gave you a star.
Yeah.
The first thing we then did is pick up the baby penguin and drop it off the edge of the cliff.
Oh yeah. You boot it as soon as possible. Yeah.
That's what I was doing with the puppy. I was.
Did you do it in his game?
Yes. He said, have a play. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. There was this puppy. I don't like dogs. I don't like animals. In real life, I'm not a pet person. So I was just kind of, for a laugh, I just wanted to see what would happen if I...
It's not a real puppy, but I'm actually horrified.
I just wanted to see what would happen if I steered this dog to the edge of the oil rig and I found a spot where it fell off and it kind of yelped, and then I went... I don't think it's going to I just wanted to see if the game would allow it, or whether it would put up a barrier and go, no, we do not allow that. And
did you then immediately reset the checkpoint so that it hadn't happened?
I stopped playing and they turned it off. They haven't told me whether or not the dog's back.
I actually feel slightly traumatised. That's horrible.
Well, that's what I had in my head. Super Mario 64, and I went, you got a dog, like a penguin.
That's a great insight into your mind. You've got a dog. It's like a penguin, only fluffier, slightly less squeaky. You're really strange.
Here's a serious question for Metal Gear. Now, I've never owned a PlayStation until my PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I have never played a Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah.
I know the writing is done by a 2-year-old with a head injury. Might have to cut that bit.
That's staying.
Is it worth playing Metal Gear Solid 5 if I have
Do what you like, I resign. I'm gone, this is not my podcast
Is it
anymore.
worth playing if I have absolutely no idea what's going on, and the idea of someone being called Big Boss sounds like a penis to me?
As I don't think we should talk to Aaron about this because he's obviously insane.
He's obviously into fluff quite a lot. And
as someone I haven't played since Metal Gear Solid 2, when Metal Gear Solid 2 was made out of elbows and awfulness.
Yes.
I am really enjoying it. The gameplay is actually amazing.
Okay.
It's finally what you wanted to do. It goes, here is a base. There are some prisoners in that base. Go and get them.
Which is what he's wanted to do since
and you
the
go,
early 90s.
How am I going to do that? Because in previous games it would be you would start the mission by climbing out the truck that you've hidden in the back of, and you'd be in the base. It would be fairly clear that you've got to get over there. And
linear almost.
Yeah, it's much more. There's the base. What do you do?
You're in a sandbox.
And I was playing, and it was.
Well, I saw one of the levels you were playing. You went round to the right and died.
Yeah, one of the things I was saying, it said assassinate these 3 generals fairly early on mission. Assassinate these 3 generals. I'd recently developed a grenade launcher. And it has these mini games that I don't really bother with, where you can assign staff to different things. I just automatically assign them, and then occasionally I tie people to balloons and we brainwash them, and then they make us better fists. Again, every time I try and explain something I've done in this game, it just sounds mad.
Yeah.
It makes sense at the time.
Exactly.
But it's not a nourishing meal, is it? It's just a snack. No. So I decided I was going to take my grenade launcher and a sniper rifle and a load of smoke grenades.
Yeah.
And I was just going to go commando on it. So I snuck up. I went found one of the guys who was inside a building. So I pulled out my sniper rifle, shot him in the head. At this point, one of the generals ran away, got into a car and started to drive off. Fired a grenade launcher at him, missed. Went, that wasn't good.
Get better at the game, Brian.
Then another one of the generals started running off the other direction, hid behind a wall and got in a shootout with him. I waited till all his mates came, fired a grenade at him, blew him up. Lovely, brilliant. Followed the other guy in his car. He went and hid up in his own base, rang in loads of reinforcements, and I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? So got up onto this mountain nearby, looked down at this base, found loads and loads of enemies, and found him, and I thought, I wonder if I can do this. Aimed my grenade launcher, so I was aiming nowhere near where he was, and fired a grenade from about half a mile away through the window and blew him up. At which point it went, yay, well done. Now you need to get out of here. At which point 50 angry people were running at me. And I got my eye in on the grenade launcher and just murdered loads and loads of people. And then summoned the helicopter, just ran away, being chased by some of the survivors. Got in a helicopter, flew off, passed the mission. And I was like, didn't have to do it that way. I could have crept into the base and murdered all of them very gently in their sleep and carried on. But I was in control of what I did. There was another mission I was playing
Very quickly, did it punish you?
It has
Hitman style, where it goes, I will now grade you.
It does have a grading system, but the thing with the grading system is that it gives you extra points for playing it. Yeah. You can replay any mission at any point to try and improve your grade.
Yeah.
But you get less bonus points each time you play it. So you can't just level up all of your equipment by replaying the same single mission over and over and over again. Yeah. It does bring the bonuses down. And there are extra things if you do really, really well. But you don't have to, and I've not run out of money yet. I can still upgrade. I can't upgrade everything, but I can upgrade the things I think I want. I've still got plenty of money in the bank to equip myself and get into missions and things like that. So I don't feel like it's punished me at all.
Okay.
And I got the top rating for the very first mission, kind of accidentally when I was still learning how to play.
Yeah.
And then I've got B's and C's. And I'm not wouldn't say I was good at it at all. I'm not that good at stealth games, but it has really nice gunplay. So if you get caught, you can fight your way out of things. You can do different things. There was one bit I was playing where they kept summoning loads of reinforcements. So I would get half the mission done. I'd rescue the prisoners. It's another rescue the prisoners thing, and then I couldn't get out because all the entrances to this fort were being flooded with soldiers. So I crept in, put loads of C4 round the communications equipment, snuck over to where the prisoners were, got the prisoners out, and then I always get caught going back the other way. So I blew up the communications equipment. They all ran over to where it was, going what was happening. Yeah, and then I escaped.
Clever.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
So it's got
a nice flow.
It's got a nice flow. Yeah, you can do things differently. You can approach problems in different ways. And I just kind of went, I'm just going to shoot them to murder them.
I would like to try this.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it. I've also there's silly things like
try it some more other than going on an oil rig and messing up something.
Shooting guinea pigs with tranquilizer darts and putting them in your pocket. Which I've done.
I know my friend has a bear on their oil rig.
Yeah,
that they ballooned in, and a couple of sheep.
Yeah,
because
I've got some sheep. Yeah. I've got a lot of sheep.
Can you do anything with them, or do you just have sheep?
Define do anything with them.
Do they add resources? Do they become members of staff? Does one of them turn out to be a great scientist?
You get paid for rescuing the wildlife. So you get resources. There's like UNICEF or something, save the animals. Someone wants because the wildlife is getting blown up.
There's
airstrikes.
Do they get taken off your oil rig? Because as much as I do like the idea of saving the wildlife, I can't imagine that a bear being trapped in a confined space in the middle of the ocean is going to result in anything less than.
What you're asking is, can you punt it off the oil rig without killing you?
The bear remains happy as long as you feed it puppies.
That's cruel, Brian.
It is. It's very cruel. So for me, Metal Gear Solid is a science fiction game. It's sort of an alternate history. I mean, there's great big mechs in it.
Yes.
The Metal Gears are mechs.
Yeah. It's Hideo Kojima.
Now, one thing that has confused me.
Yes.
And this might be slightly spoilery, and it is quite a recent game. So again, a thing.
Okay.
You know, there's going to be mechs in the game because it's a Metal Gear Solid game. So I'm not spoiling anything for you.
Yeah, I know what.
I saw
everything for me.
So I saw a mech. Yep. I was doing a mission, and there was a mech in the mist.
Yeah,
like gorillas in the mist, but
metal,
more sci-fi.
Yeah. Unless Ripley. Unless she was riding it, and then the perfect Ripley.
Mash-up remix.
No.
No, I'm not allowed to remix things. Colin has been through that. So, but before the podcast, so it doesn't make sense. So, saw this mech in the mist,
yeah.
and Big Boss rings Ocelot and goes, "What the hell was that? I've no idea what that was."
Yeah.
Has he not seen one yet?
Nope. They've not been developed. He develops the very first one. There's been previous...
But how is there one if he didn't develop it?
Well, there's been... I'm not too sure.
As a time traveller, I think this is my territory to answer.
As
As a
far as I'm
robot,
aware,
I'm keen on the origins of my species.
Yeah.
right, in the very first Metal Gear game back on the PC engine, Big Boss...
That was on the NES, wasn't it?
I think it was ported to the NES, yeah.
I played it on the NES. I never got into the first base because it was really hard.
Started
it was.
on the NES, I believe.
It was a system in Japan.
I kept getting
before.
smelt by a dog and then it would bite me and I'd die.
Yeah.
I was about 7.
Big Boss is the bad guy in that. He's the Big Boss. That's what
That dog should have been killed as a puppy.
You're welcome.
He's developing Metal Gear.
Okay.
Which is the very first presentation of it, basically.
Yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid 3, which is set way before that, before Big Boss becomes Big Boss.
Yeah.
I thought you played as Big Boss.
Yes, you do. But he's as a new recruit in Metal Gear Solid 3.
But he's the bad guy in Metal Gear Solid 1.
In Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
No, Metal
because
Gear.
it's a
not
prequel.
Yeah.
This means it takes place before the
Yes,
other game.
1960-something.
Okay, carry on.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm already half lost. This
There's
is fine.
the secret...
You've got your cosmic encounter face on.
Yeah, I understand how convoluted and weird this
I should
story
never
is.
have asked a plot question about this game.
No,
should
you're going to
I?
be here for an hour.
There's a saucepan over here you can hit yourself over the head with. It might start making sense after that.
There's actually probably a button for that in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Anyway, yes, continue your plot
So,
of the 5 games.
There's a secret Soviet base that you're breaking into that is developing a all-terrain tank, which is the prerequisites of the Metal Gear.
Okay.
So it's not quite a Metal Gear.
Is it
doesn't
called a
look
tank
like
by
one,
any
but
chance?
it's something tank, and it does look like a tank, but
Hedgehog tank,
it's got drills instead of
plasma ninja tank.
Mole tank.
We're not taking this
Mole tank.
seriously, are we?
No, take my silly plot
Yes,
seriously.
we're taking the plot. I like to think this is what Hideo Kojima says to the people at Konami, and they just sit there going,
He doesn't talk to anyone at Konami now. But he has had his ass fired.
But yes, carry on
From a
with
cannon
your
into
plot.
space.
I need to know all this so I can play the 5th game.
But yes, that's it basically. That's the big thing. It can launch nukes from anywhere.
Yeah.
What, the
basically.
tank?
Yes.
He has
Okay.
heard of the Trident.
Who's
system,
the
right?
guy in the gas mask that floats around?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But
Because I know you've
think-
looked at some stuff, so I don't feel
Why
like...
was
Well,
it-
no, I mean,
anything
it
for you.
looks a lot like Psycho Mantis. I wonder if it's
A young Psycho Mantis.
yeah.
Why is he
He's dead,
old?
though.
What?
Or is he
Psycho
dead in the
Mantis, 'cause
past?
I killed him in the first one.
Second
yes,
one.
Yes, but this is set in
No, the first
way
one.
before
Was it the first
Metal
one?
Gear
It was in the
Solid.
second one.
Metal Gear
as well.
Solid,
Oh,
yeah.
Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid, sorry.
But yeah, Metal Gear Solid is set later.
Well, this rambling nonsense, it must make great entertainment.
Where's Ryder?
Where's Raiden?
Raiden's
not
an
even
egg at the
born yet.
moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's still in somebody's scrotum.
Why in number 4 was guy with a eye patch, I presume the person you play, why was he old and now he...
Because he's the clone of Big Boss and he's gotten old. Because it's set years in the future. People
So he's-
age. I know you're a time traveller and
So
this
he's,
doesn't make sense to you.
so he's now a clone of the bad guy who you faced.
As the
Yeah.
years go by, my gears will become rusty and clogged with oil.
Ah. I have an app for that. Okay.
Would you fix me with your sonic
Right,
screwdriver?
one of the things I've seen, there was a whale that was on fire that ate a helicopter.
I've seen that myself. I've got no fucking idea what's going on there. I think
Okay.
I've got some
Does
suspicion.
that character have a name? Can you attach it to a balloon and drop it on your oil?
As of yet, no, but I haven't been given the balloons to try it with yet, though. But I imagine it's a manifestation.
Okay,
Psycho
why does he
Mantis is
hate
psychic.
women?
Hence, why does he hate? Why does I
Why
don't
does
know.
Hideo Kojima hate women?
I have no idea because
Well, he blew one up in the
in
the £40
prequel,
prequel.
Yes.
But he stuck two
bomb in a
bombs in her.
uterus, yeah.
Yeah, seemed to be off.
Yeah, but the number of men that get killed
Yeah,
in these
it's
games is
ridiculous,
bad. We don't
isn't it?
accuse him of hating men.
No, but he doesn't
That's
tend
true.
to stuff things up them to blow
Just
them
because
up.
you have one woman doesn't mean you're using them as a representation of an
No.
entire gender. Women are individuals, Colin.
Yes.
Okay, why
He
is there a
has
woman
ri-
that photosynthesizes?
I don't understand that at all.
Because
And why is this what annoys me? Because Boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 was a really strong female character.
I know what happens to her.
Yes.
That almost makes sense.
But she's not sexualized in any way.
No.
She's treated as well beyond an equal. She's far superior to anybody else there.
You're making Metal Gear Solid. Was something different in Metal Gear Solid? Was there someone else involved who was just like...
Did he have a carer?
Just chill. Let's think about this before we make an entire game out of it.
Did someone dangle sugar cubes in front of
But yeah,
him?
it's the same as Metal Gear Solid. Kind of. It was a bit silly, but it kind of made sense, and the silliness in it was very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
And then it went a bit mad in 2.
Which was the one where you were having a sniper duel with that really old sniper, and if you set your game clock forward like 10 years, he'd
That's
die.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah. That's
silly
really
bit.
cool, yeah. It's silly, but actually it is quite cool.
But it makes nods to it. It knows that's quite a silly gimmick to it.
Yeah.
And those are the bits that I like about Metal Gear. There's loads of these little bits hidden in the games that are there.
But I've not actually found any of those sly bits of humour in 5
No.
yet.
I've heard it plays quite straight.
Yeah.
It's almost like he
PSP
started
versions.
getting the joke. And then
Also, Kiefer Sutherland, it's really off-putting because I keep thinking I'm Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
I get confused.
kind of looks a bit like Jack Bauer with an eye patch and a beard.
Yeah, he does actually.
Yeah, I keep getting really confused.
If I just pretend he's Jack Bauer and I'm playing an episode of 24,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. I will do that.
Cool.
Yeah. It's an episode of 24 with no time limit. It's just called Whenever.
Yeah.
So are we done?
I think so. Some of the instruments, well, by instruments, the Coke bottles, I put some lights underneath and flashing a little bit. I think we might be losing orbit. Coke and Mentos probably
We're not
wasn't
losing
a good
orbit.
propulsion system.
The Earth is just coming towards us very quickly.
Is it supposed to
Are
do
we generating our own gravity? Is that how
Yes.
it works? We pull things... Oh.
Well done.
that? Okay. I guess Mentos-powered thrusters aren't a good idea after all.
No.
Who'd have thought? Why is there a old-fashioned police box here? Perhaps we should go inside and see what happens.
Yes.
I'll go inside first to check it's safe. Just wait here.
Well, hopefully we'll see you next time.
So yes, thank you for listening. We've been the Critical Twits, and we are currently hurtling towards the Earth and our own impending doom. Bye!
Bye.